And for those who don't know me yet, I'm Stefan Kozan, and I'm technical leader at Kentico. And today I'm gonna speak about macros and how they were made easy with Kentico CMS 7. So, what it's gonna be about? First, I'll tell you something about macros in general, and I'll show you several modules within the system where you can really use them. I'll show you some sample scenarios. Then our first part of my presentation is going to be focused on more like UI, macro components. So it's in business track, so that's like the part without any API examples. And the second part will be more technical. So I'll show you how to register your own custom methods. I'll show you some improvements within C# language. And at the end, I'll show you how the macro design, which probably you already know, was improved in version 7. So that was the agenda. Alright, so can you please raise your hands if you use macros at least once? Okay, so there are some people who already use them, and just some general note, macros are a way how to display dynamic content within the page without actual coding on like C# side, you know? You don't have to code your own specialized web parts, you just use simple macro, and you can display dynamic content with it on your pages, in your web pages. There are like two ways how to deal with macros. The old one, those are the simple expressions like current user username, just the data fields, and they are evaluated within given context, within given context on the page. And since version 6, we added support of so-called C# language, and you can do some kind of magic with that actually, because C# is really similar to C#. It's like almost programming language, I would say. And as you can see on my slides, you can do complex expressions like if, for loops, and stuff like that. So, and of course, macro engine is flexible and customizable. So you can basically register your own method. You can put your own custom fields into those resolvers, and you can like really make it even better and make it better for your purposes. So, where you can find macros? Basically, once you learn how to use macros, you can operate quite a lot of modules within Kentico CMS, because you can find macros right now basically everywhere. So here's just a list of a few examples. Most of them are an online marketing module. So just to name a few things, it's contact groups, web analytics campaigns, marketing automation, personalization, workflow processes, web art fields, and in many other modules. So it's really important to learn how to use it, because once you know how to use it, you will be able to operate a lot of things pretty easily. So, what's new in version 7? In version 6, we were focused on improving the language itself, on developing C# language, so it was more like a gift for developers. But in version 7, we focused on making it easier for non-technical people to use it. So we added a lot of macro components, and we improved them. So actually in version 7, you don't really need to know C# language itself. You can use macro engine without actual knowledge of C#. You just drag some sentences, you make conditions, and it's pretty easy. I'm going to show you how it works. But of course, we didn't forget about the developers here. And there are some API improvements in means of macro engine. So you can, there's a better way how to register your own methods. There's global resolver, which is like one resolver, and all the others inherit from it. So once you register your custom data into Denmark, you can use it within the whole system afterwards. And there are some other API improvements. Some of them were shown already in Martin's session, and the other ones will be probably in another Martin session. Right, Martin?
We'll cover it in the blog. I'm not
Alright, so there will be a blog post about API improvements. Okay, so what are the improvements in those macro components? You already know our IntelliSense support, but new thing is the introduction of highlighted properties. As you can see on the screen, some context-specific features or data within this IntelliSense are highlighted there on the top, and those are like those fields which you will use the most in the specific context. This example is taken from the email template for blog post comment. Another improvement, again, it's about highlighted properties. It's about context-specific objects. It's the same thing, but with the macro selector. So it's pretty easy. You just click the button and you select the data field you want to use, you want to evaluate. But the biggest improvement is the improvement of our condition builder component. It's you already know it, but what's new is the rule designer tab, the first tab of this designer, and I'll show you how to use it now. So, for example, I am going to show you how to use it in our contact groups module, and I want to create a contact group with contacts from North America, for just North America, which means USA and Canada. So what I do, I need to define the condition. I already prepared that, but I'm going to show you how to use it. So here you can see this condition builder component. You either can write macro expressions right into this field with the support of IntelliSense, and another way is to use our new rule designer. And so on the right side you can see the list of possible conditions. It's predefined in the system, and of course you can define your own rules, which I'm going to show you later in this session. And so we want to create a condition which is satisfied when the contact is from USA or Canada. So I'm going to look for rule about country. Contact is from country. What I simply do is add the condition to the designer section, and now I can define those parameters. So we need to select those countries. So it was USA, and it was Canada. You can see that I can make is or is not pretty simply, but I want a positive sentence here. And of course I can add more. So if I want only females from USA or Canada, then I'll just grab another sentence and I can click and change it to or and. And again, you can make like complex expressions. There is a possibility to make brackets. So with indent and unindent buttons, you just make brackets and change the operators. So it's really simple. You can drag the sentence and drop it somewhere else and stuff like that. So alright, now I'm gonna delete those sentences. And the condition is done, and I can save my contact group. Now I've filtered only those contacts which are from the US or Canada. Okay, so there are like three possibilities how to define those conditions. If you are experienced C# programmer, then the best thing to do is to use the code tab, because you have support of IntelliSense, and you can do whatever you want, you have full control over those expressions. If you just want some help with the structure of the expression, then use the designer tab, which will help you with the structure. You can again use drag and drop. And as you saw, if you're a non-technical person, it's good, or if you just want to define some conditions pretty simply and pretty fast, then use macro rules tab, and you can do it pretty fast. So I already showed you this sample scenario, dynamic group. Another sample scenario is in our marketing automation module. So let's have this scenario. Once the female user registers for our website, we want to send an invitation email for the beauty day event. If she registers for the event, we want to subscribe her automatically to the website newsletter. I'm going to show you how this process is defined in our system. So I'm going to go to online marketing, CMS processes. I've already prepared this process. So you can see that first we'll send her this invitation letter, then we wait 1 week, and if she registers for the event, because she clicked in that email to the link, she registered for the event, we want to subscribe her for the newsletter, or otherwise the process is finished. Okay, so my focus is going to be on this condition step, because that's where this macro condition is defined. Again, you can see the same component. So once you learn how to operate this component, it's basically everywhere. And again, I just defined this simple expression. Contact is registered for event, and I selected that beauty day event, and it's done. Again, I just used rule designer. I defined macro expression, but I actually didn't have to use the C# language itself. Of course, you can click to the code tab, and then you can see how the expression in the background really looks. So of course, behind those sentences there is actual macro rule or macro expression, but you don't need to operate with it directly if you don't want to. Another scenario or module where you can use macros is advanced workflow. Again, it's pretty similar to this marketing automation, because there is this visual designer. And what I'm going to do is I do have an e-shop, and I want switch between people who should approve my documents. So if somebody creates a product document, then I want product managers to approve it. Or if I just create new news or another document, I want my editor's manager to approve it. So I just want to switch the approval according to the document, according to the type of document. So again, the workflow is pretty simple. If the document is in edit step, then I decide if it is product or not, and I'll pass it to editor's manager approval or e-shop manager approval. So I'll add the condition step, and I'll call it if it is a product. And this time I didn't use this visual designer, but I wanted to show you that you can define those expressions directly here, so you don't need to go to the code tab in this model dialog. You can just simply write your expressions here with the aid of IntelliSense. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to register your own methods, how to customize macro engine, and for this I created this sample scenario. It's a consulting package promotion. So once you have a user who just bought 1 or 2 hours of consulting hours, it's a product in our eShop, and you want to remind him of the promotion that if he buys 3 hours, then he'll get 1 extra hour for free. So there's no predefined rule which can be used right away for this specific purpose. So you need to define your own rule, macro rule, and macro method. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. And if you have any questions, just don't hesitate to ask me during the session. There will be, of course, questions section at the end, but you can just ask me whenever you want. So first thing, I'm gonna customize my shopping cart page. So I'm going to CMS desk, content, eShop, and shopping cart. I've already put the content personalization placeholder down there, and in my default variant there is nothing, and in the variant with the condition I'm gonna use, there is this text: buy 3 hours of consulting and get 4 for free. Just a simple example. And if I go to properties, again there's this condition builder, and I want to define a condition, but as I told you, there is no rule which you can use right away, so we need to add my own rule to this list. You can define the rules in the specific modules, or you can have a global macro rules which will be displayed in all condition builders. And so you can manage those rules in site manager development macro rules. You can see the list here. It's all the predefined modules. And I'm gonna define my new rule. So what you specify is display name, description, user text, and condition. The interesting fields are user text and condition. User text is the sentence which you can see in the list once you grab it and you drop it to the macro condition section. And the condition is basically the macro expression behind this sentence. That's what actually gets resolved in the specific context. So we want a rule which says that current user has specific product in the shopping cart X times. So it's going to be parameterized. Oh, not here. Go here. Yeah, alright, and that's the user text. You can see the items parameter and product parameter in those curly brackets. That's actually, we need to define those parameters. We need to define the type of the parameter and how the users are going to edit those parameters. And then I need to define the macro condition behind. And it's going to be my own custom method has product units. This method doesn't exist now. I need to define it, and I'll show you how to do it. But first, I'm going to just save this. So is it clear how to define your rule? It's just the condition. You have IntelliSense here as well. So, and those are the parameters. You can see that once I saved this new macro rule, the parameters I used are automatically created in the parameters tab. On the parameters tab. So now we can define the type. So items is basically an integer because I want to say how many products, specific products are in the shopping cart. So enter a number of items, let's say. And for product, I want to use unique identifier because I want to identify my SKU, my product. file for selection. And again, I can edit this caption to select the product. Alright, but now we really need to define our own custom macro method as product units. And where you can do it, you go to Visual Studio, you open your Kentico project, and since it's a method for e-commerce module, you go to Add Code, CMS modules, e-commerce, and there is e-commerce method class, which contains already some methods predefined for which can be used in our e-commerce module. And I've added my own method, which wasn't here before, but I just prepared it in advance. So what you can see, you just define this object macro method, and you define the metadata, the comment, type, minimum parameters. That's those parameters are used in IntelliSense, so your users can see the IntelliSense with all the features like comments and specific context. And then you define parameters which the method takes. So it's two parameters for us. It's a product unique identifier and how many units we want to check in the shopping cart. And of course, I need to implement the method itself somewhere, and you can implement it anywhere you want, but it's in the same class for me. And the important thing is that the signature of the method has to be like that. It has to be static, it has to return object, and it needs to have this variable parameters. And then it's a simple thing. I'm just checking the current shopping cart, and I'm going through all the items, and if my product is there, then I'm just checking how many times it is there. Okay? So is it clear how to define your own custom method? To the variant properties, and I can use my new condition. So what is? Yeah, user has product in shopping cart X times, and we said we wanted to check if it's 2 hours of consulting, so it's 2 hours, and I'm going to select the product 1 hour of web development consulting, and that's it. Now if I go to the website, and I have only 1 hour there, but shouldn't be there. Wait. Strange thing. So I'll add one more. And the message is here. And now when I change it to 1, it should disappear. Right? 1. Yeah, and it's not here because now I have only one item in the shopping cart. So that was the content personalization example. Was it clear? Okay. So another improvement which we made in version 7 is the IntelliSense support in transformations. In version 6 and earlier, there was no simple way how to get the list of fields which you can use in this transformation, the fields of the document type. And now, once you hit Ctrl Space, the IntelliSense appears, and you can see that all the fields you can use, that's transformation for article, so all the fields of this document type are displayed here. So now it's easier to define your transformations. Another new feature in version 7, that's a new feature in C# language itself, is the support of open conditions. That's something which you might know from the Razor engine. You just define those conditions, like if statements, in two separate macros, and in the middle, anything can be there, like HTML code or text, like whatever. So you can see on my example that I want to display this HTML register for further information if current user is not registered on my website, he's not signed in, and if he is signed in, then I'll say welcome, and then I'll add his username. Okay, so just notice that it's open condition, you don't have to escape this HTML code within the expression, you just separate it into two expressions. Similar feature is support of open loops, where you can do basically the same thing with loops. Again, here I do have this for each loop, and inside, the important thing is that inside the loop, I can still use the context of the variable I defined in this for each. So you can see that I'm defining the friend variable, and I'm using it in the nested macro inside. So I'm going to show you this live. I do have this friends page, and the aim is to display the list of friends of current user. It's global administrator in my case, and you can see the result. That's the HTML code, but more important is the macro itself. So yeah, I'm defining this list, and each item is generated dynamically using just macro engine. Another nice thing is support of lambda expressions. You can see that over there I define this lambda expression, which takes one parameter, and it just generates the URL to, let's say, a profile of the user. Okay? So that's new feature in version 7 as well. And the last thing from my side is going to be macro debug. You probably already used it, because sometimes there might be some problems with macros, right? Because you don't have the variable defined, there's no data. So once you encounter any problem with macro engine, first thing you should do is to turn on macro debug in the settings in Site Manager. And the new thing in version 7 is the detail macro debug. There's a special setting for that as well in settings in Site Manager. And what it does is that it displays the whole process of evaluation. So if you are defining like really complex expressions with those for loops or conditions and stuff like that, then you might want to see where exactly the program was first. So what you simply do is that you turn it back on, you go to Site Manager, Settings. It's going to be in system section, yeah, debug, and we of course support many types of debug, but there is this macro debug over here, and you hit enable, and the new thing is the support of the detail macro debug, so you need to check this as well. And then the debugs are in administration section, macros. I'm going to clear the block for now. And I'll hit this page, and you can see that my macro, which is there, was evaluated. I'll show you how this works. So in the text property, I defined the macro that if I have an attachment, the name of which is test.png, then I'll display attachment test is present. And the attachment is there right now, so there is no problem with that. But once I delete the attachment, the macro won't work, of course. And I'm wondering why. So what I'm going to do is to use the macro debug. and I can see where the problem was. So I'm accessing this collection of attachments over here. The collection is there, but there is no item in it. So accessing the first item returns null, and that's why my macro expression failed. It's just a simple example, but the important thing is that you can see the whole progress of evaluation, field by field. So whenever you encounter any problem, try to use this debug first. Okay, so that's all from my side. Do you have any questions regarding the macro engine or what you just saw here now? Okay, so thank you.